Welcome back to Melanin's World Tea Time with Lala.
And Vita. Hey, bestie boos.
Start with a flicker and soon you will light the way. Before we do anything this week, I need to address an issue. I used the incorrect terminology last week and I want to give the utmost apologies for my snafu. My snafu. I called sanitation workers, waste management workers, female trash workers, and I apologize for that. I want you to know that I have the utmost respect for what you do. We can't live the life we want to live and have the neighborhoods we want to have without the work that you do. You are so valued, and we do trust and value everything that you do. So thank you very much, and please accept my apology.
Girl.
So, this week is very exciting for us because this is the first time that we are going to welcome callers. So, get your phones out, get ready to call us. Our call-in number is 484-254-4136. We want to know what you think about this particular topic. The topic is, what do you do when your family doesn't like your partner? Theta, have you ever been in that situation before? Have you ever had a partner that your family didn't like, or have you ever had a family member who you didn't like their partner?
Absolutely. We all did. I mean, I think that the immediate response is, so what? This is the person I'm dating. But, when we're in our big ages, we tend to try to find a communication approach where you have open communication with the partner and the family, or you're setting boundaries where it's like, this is my relationship, it's between me and my partner, which was the normal role. And of course I got to read some notes too. You set clear boundaries with the family if they just don't like the person or whatever that may be, and you just prioritize your partner's feelings while maintaining and respecting your family's feelings as well.
Yeah. I have to say that I haven't been in that situation myself. My family has always been so supportive of all of my partners. However, I do have a funny story to tell you. You guys may know that I've been married before, and when my first marriage was ending, my grandfather, our seniors, they give the best advice, and it's straight to the point, no chaser. My grandfather told me, cut that zero and get you a hero. Okay. So I know some of our loyal callers have been trying to reach us. We got on a little bit late, so sorry about that. Please give us a call back. Pat, you were trying to reach us a minute ago. Tanya, I know you're excited to talk. Give us a call. We're looking forward to hearing from you. However, we do have somebody ready right now. Shay, would you like to answer the question? Have you ever been in that situation, and how would you deal with a situation like that?
Honestly, like you said, my family has always been very supportive of me. So I don't think I have to hide who I'm dealing with, or if they don't like my family member, honestly, well, if they don't like my partner. I guess establishing clear boundaries.
Establishing clear boundaries.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I do love my family, but I honestly would not care.
Okay. That's one perspective.
We have somebody else here, and they're not. Go ahead.
We have a
caller.
caller. Hi, Tanya. We're on the line with Tan is on the line.
Hey, Tiny Tan.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, so I'm watching a live, and I think I'm delayed. So I apologize because I just had to cut the live off because I'm delayed. So first of all, I'm so excited. So let me just get my excitement out. I'm so excited to be on with you all. And I was supposed to be there in person, so I'm sad that I couldn't be there in person, but I'm glad that I'm actually online. So I like what everybody is saying about boundaries, and that's what you have to do, establishing boundaries. And Vita, to your point, I like what you said earlier about your initial reaction might be, I don't care, I just don't care about what you think. But in our big age, we got to consider all things being equal, right? We got to consider the position that puts your spouse in, and then your spouse has to consider the position that puts you in, and then also your family got to consider the position that puts you in, right? So I think at the end of the day, if we all love each other, you're going to come to some type of mutual understanding and some type of mutual respect that you just figure it out and you make it work. And I'm speaking from experience, so you grin and bear it and you figure it out and you make it work.
Thank you so much, Tanya. I really appreciate you calling in and giving your thoughts about that. I guess it would be a challenge because, especially when you really love your partner and if their family member doesn't like you, you want to make your partner happy. And how do you do that? Like, how do you keep things balanced for your partner between you and your family? As Shay pointed out, you may feel like I'm me and I'm going to be me and I don't care what his family thinks, but you also don't want to make, him or her feel any kind of way. If you don't want to make him feel like him or her feel like they have to choose between you and their family, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But then I also think for a deeper issue and a deeper question, because what's the reason? Like, there has to be a very significant or a big problem for you to say, like, I don't like this person, right? Because you're not in a relationship, and speaking from from the family's perspective, like, you're not in a relationship with that person. So I think that's where the boundaries come into play, and where it's like you and your partner, your relationship has to be your relationship, and you have to be very careful about what you share with your family, because once you start sharing your relationship, then people have the right to have opinions and have feelings about it, especially when your family loves you so much and cares so much about your well-being. It's like, okay, you mad or whatever happens, and now you want to divulge this information to whoever you want to divulge this information to in your family. Now you bad, and this person and your family is looking at this person this type of way, and you don't like them, but this is the person you love and you want to be with. Now your family don't like them, they're looking at them away. Now you're like, I don't care, this is the person that I want to be with. Now you created that disconnect between your partner and your family.
Yeah.
And so that's where the boundaries come into play, and you just got to be careful with the information that you share, because it can get unintentional. Just because, like I said, everybody loves each other in this situation and in this scenario, and it can get unnecessarily it can just get unnecessarily messy when you don't have those boundaries in place. So I think the word of the day is just boundaries.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, your family's not dating a partner, and there's nothing that you can do to make your family like your partner. You just have to let your family understand you can either accept them or, just live without knowing what's going on in my life and our lives. And people, our family, they sometimes feel like we owe them something. Like, you can't make a decision for me.
Right.
You can't pick my person for me. And I can't base my life's decisions around the partner based on how you feel or, how you see life through your lenses. So, we just have to take ownership of our own lives and just pray for the best.
Yeah. I feel like especially in the melanin community, for most of us, our cousins are our best friends, right?
Right.
So a lot of times we may get caught up in sharing all those negative issues about our relationships with our best friend cousins. But we gotta be careful about that. We have to make sure that we're sharing the good just as much as we're sharing the bad.
Right.
Because a lot of times that's where people draw their conclusion about your relationship. They only know what you tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the time, let's be honest, we tell them the bad.
Right.
Like we tell them the good, but when we
I was about to say.
right, and then we got those ride or dies and be like, oh, if you don't mess with them, I don't mess with them. I call you, you better be ready 10 o'clock, 10 minutes to roll out. You know what I mean? So just like you said, as much as we tell the bad, we have to tell the good. And my rule is for every one thing you can say bad about somebody or negative or challenge about somebody, you need to be able to say two positive things about them.
Yeah. You told me that yesterday. It's in my notes right here.
Doing good to ourselves.
Yes.
We tend to keep the good to ourselves. But I'm going to hang up because I'm going to get back to the live and I can't do the live. So I'm going to hang up and then I'll tap back in, as we go through it.
Thank you so much for calling in. Blessings to you and your family.
And y'all too. I'll talk to y'all.
All right. So, what do you guys think? Tanya just called in and, she voiced her opinion and she let us know, we're all kind of pretty much on the same page about being in our big ages, expressing things, setting boundaries, having open communication. But at the end of the day, we can't appease everyone in our life choices. Just like when you're a child and you go to college. You apply for colleges, you get accepted to, I got accepted to probably about 20 universities and I had to narrow down to pick one. Is it the ones that my parents wanted me to select? No. We have another caller calling in.
This is Pat. Hello, Pat. Thank you
Pat.
for joining us.
Hey, ladies. How you doing? Can
Good.
you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm so excited. First, I have to tell you guys you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Your topics are exciting, they're engaging, and I can't wait every week to hear what you're talking about. So keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an excellent job. I have to say that Tanya really did steal my response. And first Shay said, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, I don't care. But then for me, the reality is, you need to get along. And I think the biggest thing is communication. Sharing the communication with your partner. Maybe they know a reason that the family is not accepting it, maybe because of past history, past relationships. A lot of times it's really hard for people to let go of that exes that they had in the past, or maybe it was even a deceased spouse.
Okay.
And so it's really, really hard for them to accept a new person. So I think the biggest thing is to ask and communicate and say, why don't we have a good relationship? Why are we having these problems? What is it that I've done to make you feel a certain type of way about me? And I think that's just the best way to approach it. Sometimes people will try to soft shoe around it, but a lot of times they'll just be honest and say, well, the reason I don't is because such and such has been in so many relationships and there's been gold diggers or there have been people who hurt him, and it's not really about you. It's about something else or a perception about something else.
Absolutely.
So I think that the biggest thing is communication.
I agree with you 1,000%. Thank you for saying that. A lot of times people can have a perception of a person or a thing in their mind, but once you actually communicate, you can understand where that person is coming from, and just simple communication can clear up so many things and bring relationships closer together just because you took a time to sit and talk to that person.
And that brings up another point where I'm about to get real personal for like 5 seconds, and I promise I'll keep it really short. When my mother passed away, my father had to get back into the dating world. So that's a really tough piece of who likes who to deal with. Yeah. And, we try to, I told him, you care for my mother. I don't have a care in the world about what you do. You lived your life. She lived her life, and then you have to ride your wheels till they fall off. I didn't care if she was buried for 1 day or 100 days. You still have to live. But then there's women out there who was just coming out the woodworks, and we didn't approve.
Right.
Some approved, some didn't. And, at the end of the day, if this person is making you happy, rock out. I mean, you know, I have my opinion, my siblings have their opinions, and we just try to keep it moving, because at the end of the day, his happiness is the ultimate goal, and we just keep it at that, because that just keeps things cohesive. And, you know, I live in my house, you live in your house. I don't got to come over there, and I'm just going to be in my big girl self and just be like, live your life.
Yeah. I can completely dig that, because that's your dad, right? You don't want nobody to hurt your dad.
Yeah.
You have just as much feeling of protection over him as he has over you.
Yeah.
But like you said, he deserves happiness.
Yes.
He's still living his life, and he deserves to live it to the fullest. So it does kind of put you in an uncomfortable position, but like you said, you put your big girl panties on, and I'm proud of you for doing that.
And I wish I had you guys on, because like I have you on an iPad, and my husband was actually listening, and I hate that he just missed your response, because you got personal, and Yolanda knows my story is very similar to your story.
Yes.
With the deceased spouse and the new person coming into the relationship,
Yeah.
and people not only accepting that person but treating them, even giving them an opportunity and treating the new person with kindness, especially after a deceased spouse. It's really, really a challenge. And you hit the nail right on the head, because we're going through it now. Another very, very close friend of mine passed away about a year ago, and her husband is ready to get in the dating game. And the first person that he started dating, I had 3 million questions, and in my mind, I automatically wanted to say, I don't even like you, and I didn't even know the person. So it's really, really a challenge. So the best thing is to be open-minded, keep that communication going, and to remember, whatever makes your family member, friend, loved one happy, you really need to try to support it.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Oh, you're welcome, ladies. Have a good one. I'm getting back on the line so I can hear what everybody else has to say.
Okay, talk
thank
to you later.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So, you know, Tanya called in, Pat called in. If anybody else wants to chime in, we can see comments on Instagram. If you want to call in, the call-in number is 484-254-4136. Once again, 484-254-4136. But, you know, you always want to keep the lines of communication open, set boundaries. And then you want to just, I guess, reassure your partner in some way that the family is on board. And if they're not, you know, I don't know how to make somebody feel comfortable, because I can't fake it. You can come around and we can invite you to the cookouts, we can invite you to the family dinners, we can invite you to certain things, but it's hard to fake it when you don't like somebody. And it's not that you don't like them, it's that maybe you don't know this person, and this person is you just don't know the person. So, and we're all stuck in our ways at our big ages, and if somebody does something in my home and I don't like what they're doing, it creates a problem. It creates just friction within the family, because all it takes is one person to see what somebody didn't do or didn't like or said something crazy. Now everybody is looking at, and I'm going to use me, everybody's looking at me like, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? And I'm like, nah, we just going to keep smiling in our Dionne Warwick voice and just kind of keep it even keel, because all it takes is a quick second and now it's chaos.
That's right. That's right. And again, I'm sorry to keep beating a dead horse, but I just have to go back to the fact of communication being key. Because even though I didn't think about this at the top when we first started talking about this, it reminded me of a situation that a friend of mine went through where her partner was on a baseball team with her brother. And at first, the brother did not want her and her partner to become a couple, because he felt that it would create confusion between the team. But he didn't know how to communicate that to his sister. and she just felt like he didn't like her partner and couldn't understand why. But once he was able to communicate that, the two men were able, to kind of get over that and build an even stronger friendship between the two. So that's a perfect example of how communication is key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have someone else here, J9, Jiggy. You want to just chime in with your 9 cents?
Yes, because I got something to say. Well, first, love what y'all doing. I'm happy to be here. Love
you
the
for
live.
joining us.
Yes. I'm here for it all. Yes, clock that. That's what they say now, right? Clock that.
clock
Okay.
that.
So, I'm agree with what I think Shay said or you said it. Yeah, I don't care what nobody say or nobody thinks because I am who I am and it is what it is. However, I do think when you meet somebody and you feel like you want to pursue it further, I think you guys owe it to yourself to stay in a bubble. Nobody should know. Maybe one person, maybe 2 people, but nobody should know who you're dating and know the dynamics of that relationship because you yourself first needs to find out if this is even somebody I want to bring around my people.
Absolutely.
Because my people are an extension of me. Can you rock with these people? Are you going to get along? If you stay in your bubble long enough with this person, you'll know, you know what? Nope, can't bring you around. You're not even going to last long. You know what? I ain't got to hear about, what happened to Jacob? What happened to this person? Because somebody done fell in love with him, but meanwhile, I hate him. So I don't have to hear his name no more. Or vice versa. I'm glad you got rid of him, girl, because he was da-da-da. I don't want to hear that either.
Yeah.
So stay in your bubble, and then all right, you can come to game night. That's one thing you can come to.
Right.
If you can survive game night,
Right.
you might be able to survive the cookout. But you also don't throw him or her into the mix so quick with everybody. Do one person, a little bit at a time, and then be like, all right, let me see if you can survive my heavy hitter, my rock waller. You might actually got a chance. But that's just my take that I had to learn over time. That stay in your bubble, enjoy each other's time, because once you get introduced to the family, that's it. Because that person now becomes part of the family, and you might not get your person back no more,
Right.
or what have you. And I think Pat said something. Oh, Sugarfoot, I should have wrote it down. She said something that I agreed with, but I can't remember what it was. But that's my 2 cents of it. But I think, you even said you had a friend who brother didn't like somebody. I'm in a similar situation. Mm-hmm. My brother doesn't like the person I'm with now, too, because they're teammates. Do I give a fluke? No.
Phil. You got a beat
I
button.
don't. But I get what he said. He doesn't, if something goes wrong, he's going to look at him sideways and he's going to feel some type of way. And this is a prime example why you don't bring these people around. But he was part of the hooking it up process, so I'm confused by that. But that's another story for another day. I'm done for now. Okay, I'm out.
But I want to piggyback off of what J9 said. Stay in your bubble. And it's not that you have to be a secret. You just can remain private.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
If your immediate circle, and we all know, you have that corner and they support you, because when you're happy, you want to tell people, and you want people to see your happiness, and you want people to what you think. You have those people who you go to for advice, and you look for people for certain things, and what you think, and then the number one thing is, don't let it be somebody that one of your circle or corner people be like, oh, I know that person. Ooh. That person dated somebody that I know and it didn't go well, and then now here comes the negativity and this, that, and the third, or that's so-and-so's baby mama, or that's so-and-so's baby daddy. And then you get into these a whole nother dynamics of extensions of the extensions of the extensions. And now you got all these other people involved in something, as, J9 said, was supposed to be a bubble. Private, not a secret. But how do you sustain your secrecy? How do you sustain your bubbleness? How do you cultivate that without making an introduction to the world or your corner or your circle when you just want to hold on to it for a little bit longer? How do you do that? Because in that same instance of having some privacy, you're still going out into the world, doing things together, and somebody's going to see you. And, not that it's a secret, but girl, did you see that man that Jay now was with? Ain't that so-and-so's man? Or, oh, that girl that he was with, don't she date so-and-so? But at some point, once again, that goes back to a conversation that we had amongst our corner village circle, where you can date more than one person at the same time. And, just as long as it is communicated that you're dating more than one person at the same time, I think it's okay.
Yeah. This is all very interesting to me because I've always had the habit, especially when I meet somebody new, to show his picture to all of my girlfriends, all of my cousins, because I want to know if you know this guy and if you got some tea to tell me.
Absolutely.
Like, tell me now. Don't let me find out later.
Right.
And at the same time, once I have started to like somebody, it has been my habit to introduce him to my corner people right away, because I want to know, do you see what I see? Do you see the good that I see?
Right.
Or am I missing something? Like, let me know, sis.
Right.
Am I,
Absolutely.
like, so, but, I guess it is important to be careful what you share, not to share too much, because then the other thing, like J9 said, there may be things that you're willing to forgive, but your friends aren't. And then what happens then when they're all angry with him because he, didn't take you to dinner last weekend and you got past that?
Right. 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 And we have somebody else here. Dee Dee, you want to chime in?
Of course.
What's up, Mama?
Well, I think that if your family is not approving of your relationship, whether it's a committed or a non-committed relationship where you're engaged or dating or even married, if there's a valid reason why your family don't like your spouse, I think you should allow them to stand in that. Personal story, there's a valid reason why I don't like the spouse of one of my family members.
Okay.
And I'm going to stand on that.
Okay.
I don't like how this person treats my family members.
Okay.
And I don't want anything to do with that person. So you have to allow your family members to stand in it. And that's where I am. I don't like them for valid reasons.
Okay. Okay.
So, but, when this person was making my family member happy, I was all happy for it. But then when the ugliness started to show its head, that's when I was like, no, I'm good on you.
Absolutely.
I'm good on you.
Absolutely.
I think that's okay.
Right. It is.
As long as there's no disrespect, like
Okay.
blatant disrespect, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I could sit in a room with somebody I don't like.
Right.
You might think I like you. I'm sitting in a room with you.
Yeah. We've experienced
It gets
that.
fake over
Yes.
Well, I can't sit in the room with that person. It grinds my gears to sit in the room with that person. I want nothing to do with.
Not me though, because you're blessed.
Well, I have a question to what she said when she's done.
While we wait for you to answer your question, Tanya, call back in. We wanted to make sure. Here she comes. And then don't forget your follow-up question. Go ahead, Tanya.
Tanya, can you hear us?
Okay. Go ahead. She can answer a question.
Okay, go ahead, Jana.
So, to what Dee said, what if your child doesn't like the person you're dating or getting ready to marry? Because that was my situation, and everything I felt as a child came to fruition, even though it lasted years on, as an adult.
Well, the way my daddy, put it is, if he was dating someone that we didn't like, he has to continue to live his life. It's a little bit different, and I'm going to get back to your question, because he has grown children. So it's a little different. But I also said, what happens if we were teenagers and this person didn't like us at all? How do you navigate that? Like, how do you say, hey, these are my children. You can't beat them or you can't chastise them and you can't this, that, and the third. That respect goes both ways because the children were here first. You're coming into our home, our protection, our security, our place, our safe haven, our sanctuary. So there needs to be a family communication where the parent has to sit the partner down with their child and say, listen, we need to amicably figure something out that works for the entire family. And that is why it is important for families to sit down together and eat together and communicate together and have these conversations so some of these things can be worked out. Because that is very important. And the child also needs to feel like that they have a voice, because just because you're not an adult does not mean that you do not have a voice, because your decision may make or break the relationship. You may have the best decision for the relationship. And, that person, that partner also has to understand you're coming into this. So you have to be open, willing, and able to receive good, bad, or indifferent with the child, because no child's perfect, and children act out and fall out and do things for attention because of a new person. So with that being said, there should have been some type of family conversation or something to make all parties feel at ease. That's the best thing I could say. Communication. I can't even say boundaries. Little boundaries to be set, because at the end of the day, that person is an adult, and us Gen Xers, we the first and the last generation of a lot of things. So we were taught a certain level of a child is to be seen and not heard. So we just accepted things and we just dealt with it because, like I said, we the first and the last of a lot of generational stuff. So we were just like, yeah, whatever. Can we go outside and play? Yeah. Well, can I go over my so-and-so house? And just, it just became family norms. So that's my 5 cents on that. I hope that it gave you a little clarity and understanding on some of that. Shay, did you want to add in on that? And then we're going to get to you, Tanya. Sorry, boo.
I felt that way for most of my childhood, honestly.
Okay.
I don't really know how to chime in on it. I did agree with everything you said.
Okay.
My relationship with my mom is good, but it is strained with certain topics.
I'm loving it.
It's like certain things I feel like I'm not going to bring up because it's going to start an argument. So, yeah.
Okay. I hear that. I definitely hear that. Go ahead, Tanya. What you got to say, Tanya? Give her some grace, y'all. She's in. Everybody that's listening live is a little delayed. Can you hear us, Tanya?
So I did have something to yeah. So I did have something to say about the conversation. Yeah, and I'm actually. It's so delayed. It's weird.
We definitely understand. Take your time.
You might have
And
to.
I don't know how to.
You might have to mute the live and talk on the phone.
So I just came off the live, and
Okay.
I'm gonna have to just go back in.
Okay.
So I did have something to say. The comment that was made earlier about the bubble, but I think I want to touch on this topic right here about the kids and what do you do when your kids don't like the situation. I think that is very interesting because my dad was dating when we were kids, and like you said, Vita, to your point, we were taught like to be seen and not to be heard, and you don't have a stake in the game. You were a child, stay in the child's place, and all that fun stuff. But I feel like people don't give kids enough credit, right? People don't think these tiny humans have opinions and have feelings and have emotions and have insight, quite honestly, because kids see a lot. They hear a lot. Kids absorb a lot. And it was very interesting because my dad's girlfriend was cheating. She was cheating. She was so bold that she was getting phone calls to the house, like calling and asking, it's to marry there, and and my dad is deceased now, and this was when I was, a child or whatever. So I'm sharing this, and it was, I didn't like her, I couldn't stand her, and because I was a child and I had to stay in a child's place, and I didn't know, what to do with this information or how to do with this information, and she knew that I didn't like her because she knew I saw her. Like, at the end of the day, you might think that a child don't know, but I know what you're doing, and you know that I know you ain't right. So now she's, playing me against my dad and all these different things. And it was a really tough situation, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that situation fizzled out. And years later, I was over 18. Or no, not over 18, because my dad had already passed away. I was probably about 15 or something, because this happened when maybe I was like 10 or 11. So when I was about 15 or 16, and we was driving down the block, and we seen her, and I told my dad, don't stop, keep going, like, Pastor, don't stop, like, keep to her. He was like, listen to you, like, don't stop. Like, no, you don't do that, like, you speak. And he stopped, and he spoke, like, hey, how you doing, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she spoke to me, and I looked at her, and I was like, don't speak to me. And she was like, she gave me that look, and my dad just put his hands up, because it's like, at this point, we all knew, but my dad allowed me to have that moment. Like, he didn't say, don't say that or stay in the child place, because everything had already came out at that moment. But I was just so mad in that moment, because I'm like, had you listened to me, or had you took my anger, or took me acting out in that time, then maybe things wouldn't have happened, or things wouldn't have been so tumultuous over those last couple of years as they were, you know what I mean? But I know this is long-winded, but I say all that to say, kids be knowing, and you know your kids, and you know your relationship that you have with your kids. Kids know the relationship that they have with their parents, and it's very different today than it was back then. Kids have voices now. Parents parent differently now. So I think that, like Vita said, there should be an open line of communication where everybody feels like they have a voice in the situation, and you chew the meat, throw away the bones, right?
Right.
So that's how I feel about it.
Thank you so much, Tanya. That is very, very insightful and heartwarming. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank everybody.
Yes.
This has been very exciting.
Yes.
Having callers. I think we got one more. Did you want to add anything? It's okay.
Her parents is married. They got a good relationship.
It's okay.
No, not even when your parents are married, people think everything is glorious. Like, I will say my parents did put their best foot forward to show me love. But then again, dating is very differently. Sometimes the girls who do come from the two-parent household still often go for those bad boys for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the thrill. I don't know. But people are expecting you when you come from a two-parent household, that you have an idea of what love looks like. And I do, and I know how to be treated, but when I'm dating and when I look back now, I'm like, oh my goodness, I put myself through the ringer. And for what? And definitely my parents did argue, but when they had their arguments, go upstairs. We don't want you to see this. Or, Drew, can you go do something? Can you go do that? So, they wouldn't put that image in front of us. And I thank them for that. You're going to have relationship issues regardless. But for me to sit there and dated those guys I dated was like, why did you go and do that to yourself? You had the perfect image, or you have an idea of what love looks like, and you just went back for whatever reason.
Well, with that being said, we did want to just follow up, and we always want to touch on health topics for you people in your big age, over 40, mammograms, colonoscopies, and we want to thank everybody who chimed in, called in, tapped in, walked in. We want to say thank you. This was our first live. We've always, recorded and posted on YouTube. So just remember, follow us on Melanin Swirl Tea Time. Like, share, and subscribe. So, also, just remember to always shine unapologetically in the dark.